Yesterday, when Sayadaw came to the conclusion, Sayadaw pointed out the important point that as all the yogis, they should remember, including the laziness plus other impurities, whenever they are taking the upper hand in your mind, you must have the guts with merciless, and you must be cruel enough to abandon them off. So in the practice of Dhamma, including the laziness plus other impurities are the real enemies within us. As they are the real enemy, Sayadaw explained, as an enemy, we must consider them and face them like an enemy. We cannot relax on them, and we cannot have relaxed consideration. So that's why it is a very important fact for the yogis to work out with merciless attitude towards all these impurities. Sayadaw explained, all the beings in this world, whenever they meet with lovable object or they have to meet with any hatred things, spontaneously in our mind we develop greed, anger in connected to these. So these are the real enemies. Although they are the real enemies, we have followed in accordance with these impurities of mind time and again, life after life, so they come to kill oneself. Even because they have the power to kill oneself, that's why these, in Pali, Sayadaw says it is called as Mara. Mara means it is inducing death or it is killing. So as for these greed, aversion or delusion, they have no mercy on anybody, because whether a person is a bhikkhu or a monk, or whether he is an honorable person, or whether he is a rich man or an high-ranking noble person, or whoever they may be, they have no mercy on that person. That's why they are really dreadful and fearful if one comes to understand the true nature. If one fails to control oneself from bodily behavior, verbal and mind behavior, once your mind is out of control, empowered by these impurities, then as your mind is unguarded, then whenever you have to meet with lovable or attractive object, you already attach on it. So you have craving and then clinging and grasping. Sometimes we reach to the extreme of craving. So when we reach to the extreme of craving, that craving or greed will compiling in one time after time. And also if we develop aversion in one, this aversion too will be compiling repeatedly time and again, and that is very obvious. So if we come to understand that these impurities have no mercy on anybody, that's why not only they will make that being suffer, but they will also even kill that being to that extent. So we succumb to the power of these impurities. Sometimes we may even meet with death. How they defile in one's mind is, we will be behaving wrongfully from our bodily behavior as well from speech. If there is wrong speech and bodily behavior are impure, you have lost your virtuous quality, as well you have these impurities also destroy oneself. So as they have no mercy on that being, that's why it is termed as Mara, which is the real executioner in oneself. So as a Mara from outside, which become the murderer, is we may meet only very seldom. But for the murderer inside of us is constantly empowering and always torturing to us. As a human being, we need to have a good conduct or noble conduct. So only if you have this kind of good conduct or noble conduct, then you become a real human being. To become a real human being, we should observe the morality that we should observe. If there is any deficit or deficiency in these moralities, then we are not the real kind of human being. As well, when we have to stay in with concentration or samadhi, then if we are staying in that with samadhi, then we are the real human being. But if we fail to stay in with samadhi or balancing in our mind, then we are not the real human being. Likewise, if we have to stay in with pinya or wisdom, then without that real knowledge, we cannot be the real human being. That means if these three trainings, or sikkha, or the trainings of morality, concentration and wisdom, training are absent in one, then you have destroyed all the virtuous quality in yourself as a human being. For example, in a day, if somebody come and insults you, because one is insulted, then as he couldn't control his dosa or aversion, then he commits killing, so he became a murderer. Though he was a murderer, that murderer, although he didn't lose his life at that moment, because he is a murderer, he is a criminal, then he lost his virtuous quality. That is another kind of losing virtuous quality as a human being. Another kind is you want to get other people's property unlawfully due to your greed or craving. If the greed is excessive, you like to steal it, or sometimes you like to confiscate other people's property by any means. So in that way too, you have destroying another virtuous quality. And also, when you have to hold on your discipline, not to have unlawful kama raga, that is the unlawful action with the opposite sex, then this is also another kind of losing your sikkha or training or dispensation. And another kind is whenever you are lying, then although you are lying at that time, although you are not dead, but one kind of the virtuous quality in you is already dead. So that's why Sarah explained, as for to live as a real human being, then although you may die, if you die as a faultless or a blameless human being, but as long as your virtuous quality still exists, it is better than a person whose virtuous quality is dead, but he is still alive. So, contrary to this, as for a human being, if you want to become a real human being, you need to observe these virtuous qualities not to be destroyed. To be destroyed, these virtuous qualities in one is because you are overpowered or influenced by the inner enemies. As these inner enemies are merciless and as they are very fearful real enemies, as a learner, we must remember in our mind that these fearful inner enemies are the one which will kill oneself and which will destroy your virtue. Sarah like to give an example to the meditators who are starting to practice in this meditation field. So, while in the early part of our practice, we cannot note properly. As well, we pay attention to the ease and comfort of our body. So that's why our mind is not alert, it is not attentive, it is not active, and it is not precise to pierce our mind on the meditational object. So that means if we consider and look deeply, we are following to the attitude of the laziness in our mind. That laziness in our mind is induced by tina metta, that is sloth and torpor. So while in the due course of our practice, we like to have ease and comfort of our body. So whenever we meet with any difficulty, if I can lie down for a while and relax, how it will be wonderful. So that thought may occur in one. Or maybe wanting to lean against a wall, so that I like to relax my body for a while. Or if I could sleep for a moment, then I think I'll be more energetic. So what you are doing is, you are encouraging yourself to become a loser in this time of practice, because you are encouraging to the power of the laziness. So in that way, as we are encouraging to the laziness mean, on the other hand is, we are becoming to lose in the gaining of accumulation of these Dhamma moments in ourselves. So we are lacking and we cannot progress in these Dhamma notings because we follow to this laziness. So if we are in that manner, we have lost the quality of virtuous quality of Dhamma, and that is the time we are killing ourselves. While in the process of our meditation, we need to tranquil our mind. From that tranquil mind, we need to extract out the wisdom to understand. So only when one yogi physical parts are stable and tranquil, then you accumulate tranquility of mind. In the sitting of 1 hour meditation, whenever we have any kind of discomfort or uneasiness, we lose patience. We want to straighten out our body in that way, we want to change our body posture, etc. That means you lost patience and you have no forbearance in your mind. That's why because your body is not stable or still, that's why you cannot achieve the tranquility of mind. For example, like if you have to note on itchiness or any kind of discomfort, instead of noting on this process properly, but we lost patience and we cannot bear it anymore, so we scratch it or we move here and there. That means we have lost our determination and we have lost our courage. So as we lost our courage and determination, we become restless, so we look to the watch and we open our eyes looking here and there or fidgeting to our backs, etc. So these are the signs of restlessness. So if there is restlessness is getting upper hand in our mind, then the Dhamma, the virtuous quality of Dhamma in us is dead. Once in our practice, once our noting or the practical quality has succumbed to these powers, then we cannot control ourselves, we are beyond the guard. So that's why if one is able to succeed in this kind of noting, then because of your success in the prime noting, later on too, you will become a successful meditator in your practice. If not, then because you lost your patience and you cannot note properly, losing your patience as well, there is no determination. That means you are losing your Dhamma virtuous quality in yourself. As for one who has patience, who is determined and courageous, then there will be tranquility of mind in one. That means you are flourishing this virtuous quality of Dhamma in yourself. If you lost patience, then this Mara or the murderer in you is getting the upper hand. So if that inner murderer in you is getting the upper hand, not only it will destroy your virtuous quality, but it will be also killing you. The Dhamma inside of us, as expounded by the Buddha, to flourish or to grow this Dhamma nature in us, we need to tame our bodily behavior very thoroughly. But instead, if we abruptly stand or sit or turn our body, or whenever we heard sound, we turn our body abruptly or look to any object abruptly, then you are behaving like an energetic or very active person, like an ordinary people. If we are acting like an ordinary active person, then at that time of sitting or standing, etc., in the line of mind and matter flux that is continuously happening inside of you, as these are the profound Dhamma nature in you, then you need to slow down your body to be able to pick up all these subtle and profound Dhamma nature. So only when your bodily behavior is subtle and it is then your mind behavior is able to pick up these profound Dhamma nature. For example, if you stand up or if you sit down abruptly or quickly, there are numerous mind and matter nature are taking place. Because of your abrupt sitting and standing, your mind cannot follow the consequences of the happening from these mind and matter. So in that way, you are losing or not understanding to the true nature of this subtle mind and matter. That means at that moment, in our mind, our mind is lacking in sati. There is no mindfulness, there is no right effort to be able to concentrate. So we have lost each and every moment of the object, and we are losing from moment to moment of all the happenings or the flux of mind and matter in ourselves. So that's why, to be able to pick up the profound nature of this mind and matter flux, we have to behave like a sick person. And also another example Sayadaw given is, if we are not noting as guided by, then this is like a sick person or a patient who is not eating any food which is suitable to him, and if he is eating which is disagreeable to him, then instead of his illness is getting better, but his illness will be getting worse. So likewise, in the time of our Dhamma practice, if we are unable to pick up all these virtuous qualities in Dhamma, then as we are losing, we are at the same time, we are killing the Dhamma virtuous quality within ourselves. So as these kilesa or the impurities defiles our mind, means they are killing oneself. If you succumb to this kill, then you have lost the Dhamma virtuous quality in yourself and you have killed yourself. But instead of killing the Dhamma virtuous quality, if we behave like a sick person, and if we are able to note and able to pick up these virtuous, profound nature of this Dhamma, then we are building in ourselves with Dhamma virtuous qualities, and we are making it alive, and we are making it grow. So in that way, we are propagating the virtuous quality of Dhamma within ourselves. So to propagate this virtuous quality of Dhamma within ourselves, we need to act and behave slowly. For example, like if we are going to sit down, note or be aware of your intention to sit down. As you slump down your body slowly, how it behaves, as from the step-by-step of sitting down process, follow and note it or observe it properly. Likewise, when you stand up, also follow it slowly, do the process of standing up, so as to observe yourself and behave yourself like a sick person. While you are focusing your mind in that manner, not only to the sitting and standing, to every behavior of your body too, you have to behave like a sick person and follow it accurately but slowly and observe it profoundly. So, if you are not looking here and there, just keeping your mind continuously looking into the flux of this mind and matter, then the virtuous quality of Dhamma inside of you become alive. The main point in our practice is we need to have patience. Patience or forbearance from our mind. If the quality of the patience in us is less or small, then we will succumb to the attack of Mara. But the quality of patience or forbearance in our mind is strong, then we are able to revert back these Mara. Sarah touched on the point of Mara. So when we succumb to these Mara are also of three types. The first type is called Vitikama Mara, and that is the transgressional or extreme type of Mara. Second is Priyotana Mara, or that is the obsessive or medium type of Mara. And the third kind is called Anusya Mara. Anusya means it is deep-seated in you, and this is latent or potential Mara inside of you. So the first kind, the transgressional or excessive kind of Mara, overwhelmed in you because you have reached to the extreme. In accordance with greed or aversion, you commit killing. Because of excessive greed or craving, you steal other people's property. Because of greed, then you lost discipline concerning with sex behavior. And sometimes you lost yourself in telling lies. So that's why if you succumb to this Vitikama or transgressional Mara, how dangerous to oneself, we should understand. And the second point is Priyotana or obsessive or medium type of Mara. That is the impure mind within ourselves, but it won't reach to the point of seduce somebody else and etc. All these are considered as Priyotana Kilesa or obsessive Mara. The third kind is Anusya, that is the latent or deep-seated potential Mara within you. These will arise or upsurface within your mind whenever the conditions favors, and this will come to reach to any kind of impurities. Sarah explains these mentioned points are called as Patipeka. Patipeka means they are the opponents of Kusala or wholesomeness. They oppose or they are not the friends of wholesomeness in one's mind, but they are the friends or the companionship to Akusala or unwholesomeness or immorals. So as these unwholesome or immorals are the great danger to oneself because they are always dwell in our mind all the while, they are the within enemy, and they are also the nearest enemy. That's why how they are dangerous to oneself, we should understand. That's why they are termed as Pachipaka. Kusala is wholesome. Wholesome, it is faultless. And because it is faultless, then you are free from disparaging. As mentioned, the 3 stages of Mara, much and more one have these Mara or defilements in one, then this being is surely to be disparaged by others, or he is worthy to be disparaged. And he become a disgusting person, and he become a frightening and fearful one. Why? Because one has succumbed or follow to the influence of this Mara. So whatever you does or they do, then you have done the wrongs. So as one have done all the wrongs, then that being become a hateful person, hateful being. Not only he is a hateful being, but also he would be disliked and disgusted. He become a disgusted person. As for a Dhamma practitioner, we must understand that all these Mara are really disgusting and they are really hateful, and these are the qualities of these Mara. We should dwell that point deeply in our mind. Only when we understand in that manner, we become very disgusting to have these kind of immorals. As well, we are afraid to succumb to these immorals. So one comes to understand that if you succumb to these immorals, as an effect, all the unwholesome effect will be accumulated in one. So that's why if we are able to circumspect ourselves, then we always guard or control ourselves not to do any wrongs. So if we are not doing any wrongs, then we are building in with virtuous quality. So that become as a virtuous quality, or you are having that virtuous weapon, or you are adorning this virtuous quality as a cloth over you. The kind of killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, and lying, or using harsh words, or abusing, or using or talking frivolous talk, all these are the immorals or the evils that are connected to your bodily behavior and to your verbal behavior. As we have come to understand deeply, we will become very disgusted to these immorals. As well, we have fear not to commit any of these immorals. So we abstain from these immorals. Because of the abstinence, that is the time we have abandoned all these immorals in ourselves. If we have abandoned these immorals, then we are abandoning the first kind of Mara, that is the transgressional or excessive kind of defilements. That's why as we abstain from these immorals from body and verbal behavior, we are staying in with Samma Patipatti, right bodily behavior and verbal behavior. Because of our abstinence, then that is the time we are freeing ourselves from all these immoral bodily and verbal behavior. As our bodily and verbal behavior are clean and freed from all these immorals, then our behavior becomes purified. As it becomes purified and faultless, then we are freed from the heat or from the worries that will produce due to these transgressional defilements. So if we can abstain in that manner, it is not only you are observing yourself within the guard of the morals or wholesome, but at the same time you are not insulting or not hurting other people too. So that's why this kind of training is the self-training that will bring the bilateral benefits to oneself as well to the others. So So Sarah explained, if we can stay in with this basic training of not to hurt other people as well to oneself, is because we didn't give the chance of this vitikama defilements not to seep into you. So that's why that will make you freed from all these transgressional defilements. By making a good conduct in you, you are building your world, that is yourself, your own world at peace, so that in that way you are not rocking to have fear to other people as well to the world. So because you are staying in with that good conduct, you are maintaining the real peace within yourself. So if you are maintaining the real peace with good conduct or noble conduct within oneself, you are building your world, a peaceful world to oneself. So if there are 10 individuals on this world, if they can stay in this manner, there are 10 worlds are at peace. So likewise to 20s or hundreds or thousands or millions, and if each and every individual can live with that noble conduct, then this world will be at real peace. So that is the real peace based on maintaining a noble conduct in oneself. Once you are having this noble conduct in oneself, because they are the righteous one, you are at peace. Because you are at peace and you know you are staying in with good conduct, you said whenever you reflect to yourself or look inward to yourself that you have the good conduct, you are really happy and you satisfy with yourself. Because you satisfy with yourself, you are freed from blaming yourself. That is called Attanuvada Bhaya. And also because you are a noble good conduct, having a good noble conduct, then nobody will blame you. Especially the noble learned people will never blame you. So you are also freed from blame from others. That is called Paranuvada Bhaya. As explained, each and every individual are able to live within this basic noble conduct. Then you won't succumb to the third kind of punishment. That is Danda Bhaya, punishment to be given to you or punished to you by the law or the concerned people. And also, as you are staying in with this noble conduct or basic conduct, then your world is at peace, and because you are not committing any kind of immorals, from hereafter too you are safe. You are not going to any kind of for neither world. So in that way, because one is able to train oneself with the basic or training or the basic conduct in oneself, you are winning the Mara within you. So if you are winning the Mara within you, not only you bring in the benefit to oneself, at the same time you are bringing the benefit to others as well. If we can circumspect ourselves, then we will have the self-benefits. As well to the near or to the community, you will bring the benefits. As well, you will bring others near and far. You will also bring the benefits for them too. As you have trained yourself to stay in with this basic conduct, as you become a considerate person. As you become a considerate person, you want other people to be in good success, and you want them to see in a happy state or in a good state. That means in your mind is free from hate. As your mind is free from hate means there is no dosa or aversion. Once your mind is free with this free from dosa or aversion, then the nature of itself is dry. As it is dry, whenever you have to walk out to adhere the two things, it cannot adhere the two things together because of its dryness. So likewise, as for a person with a good conduct, when one is going to walk out for the benefits of the others, one needs a sap or a wetness in one. That wetness is metta, that is the loving kindness. If loving kindness is flourished in one, then you become a very considerate person. And the more you practice and flourish, then the loving kindness quality will become strengthened. Once it is strengthened, the forbearance or the patience in you becomes stronger. You become a more considerate person. You are easily forgiven towards others. Why easily forgiven to others means because you consider other people just like as you are. So that's why you become a real considerate person. So that in your mind you don't want to hurt other people. You want them to be happy, and you want them to be in success, and you want all the good wishes for the others. So in that way, you are building a tranquil world on this earth to oneself as well to the others. Because you build a tranquil world in yourself, at the same time you are making a benefit towards others. So that's why you are making the other people's world to be calm and tranquil. So in that way, we are not letting vitikama kilesa or these transgressional defilements not to get the upper hand in you or not to walk in you. So not only that, you will have shame and fear to do any kind of immorals. So that's why with that consideration, you are not hurting yourself. As well, with that real consideration, you want benefits and goodnesses of the others. So if we understand this two ways, in bilateral ways, if you ask any noble, learned person, nobody will say that this is not a good work, this is not a bad work. They will say it is a real good work and it is a real noble work. But there are people who do not really deeply understanding the virtue of sila or morality. They will give some kind of excuses. How are we going to defend ourselves if we are attacked by others, and so on and so forth? But if one comes to understand the virtuous quality of sila, all the noble, learned people will appreciate you and they will praise you. The vitikama mara, or the transgressional defilement, if present or if they are in action, they are the real innermost enemy in oneself. As well, constantly and continuously, they are overwhelming in oneself. So that's why Sayadaw says, Buddha expounded that to these defiled or the defilements or the mara or the killer, we shouldn't have any compassion. We shouldn't have any mercy. We must have the guts to torture them, or we must be cruel to them. So in the teaching of Milena, Sayadaw cited the Pali phrase as expounded by the Buddha. As for the yogi, the meditational practitioner, whether they are a bhikkhu or the lay men and women, all are inclusive in yogi. As a meditator, we must understand that these kilesa, or the defilements or the killers, are the innermost enemy, and they are the most fearful enemy within us. So that's why one shouldn't have compassion to them, one shouldn't have mercy to them, one must be able to cut it off with strong force. In that way, we are abandoning all these mara or the killers within us. If we are able to abandon these transgressional Mara or the defilements, then we are staying in with the basic or the fundamental training of civilization in accordance with the Dhamma line. If we are staying in that manner, we become a Dhamma winner to ourselves, or you become a conqueror to oneself. That's why it is termed as Dhamma Vijaya. You are the victor to yourself in accordance with Dhamma. But if it is not the righteous one, it becomes Adhamma. It is a forceful or unlawful way of winning to oneself. So if to become a real winner to yourself is, we have to train to become as an Dhamma Vijaya, to become a victor to yourself or as a real winner. To win oneself, as Sarah described, if we train so, we are forwarding to the real peaceful condition. Then if we are in that peaceful condition, we become a real civilized human being. If we become a real civilized person, then that is the real or the practical practice you have done. For the meditators, as we have observed the 8 precepts, as long as we are able to observe it properly so that it is not broken, there is no blemish on it, then all the while our precepts is clean and pure. So if we consider each and every component of the 8 precepts, or as a whole too, if we reflect to ourselves all the time how pure our bodily and verbal behavior is, you should be very happy. That is within 24 hours. For that, the whole of the 24 hours, we are staying in with this 8 precepts. So our bodily behavior and verbal behavior become so purified. There is a purification of morality in ourselves. As there is a purification of morality is present, then we won't commit any wrongs from deeds and speech. So if there is no wrongs from deeds and speech, that is the time we are winning to the Mara of defilements. So the more we reflect or think further how it is wonderful and how we should be happy to ourselves, the more we understand deeply, the more we will be happy about it. So based on this training of morality, we can compile or foundation on this basic morality, we can build in or build up another 2 types of training. So that's why the basic or the foundation of sila or morality to observe properly is very important. We should observe it and not to break it off any components, and if we perfect it this way, then we save by observing this morality. And Sayadaw encouraged to all the yogis to observe properly to these moralities. In the practice of Dhamma or meditation, we need, based on sila or morality, we need to endow ourselves with strong, powerful samadhi. It should be fruitful. It should be a well-growth samadhi. So, based on sila, that is like a tree. So, as it is the main trunk or the main stem of a tree is like a sila, then if the sila is well observed on sila tree is well observed, then all the branches will be well and good. But if there is a deficit in any component of your sila, then it is like some kind of branches are cut off, or maybe if they are not broken, maybe some branches are withered. If they are withered, they cannot produce a real healthy fruits or flowers. So likewise, in our Dhamma practice, if the branches of our sila or morality are withered, then we cannot attain the good fruits of samadhi, and we cannot get the full bloom flower of samadhi. So these are the real important facts we have to nail down in our mind. So in accordance with the literature, Syara explained that this sila is shown as your mouth. To get in the nutriment for oneself, this mouth should be very healthy. Only through this you can put in the food and nutriment to yourself. For example, if your mouth cannot be open, or if it is injured or diseased, then you cannot eat properly. As you cannot eat properly, you will become thin and ill, and you are malnourished. So likewise, if our sila or morality is withered or broken at any time, we cannot get the nutriment of samadhi and panya, that is the concentration and wisdom. So if that sila, which is equivalent to the mouth, is not healthy, then we cannot fill in through that mouth with samadhi and panya, that is wisdom and concentration. So that's why Syara explained it is like a good healthy mouth equivalent to sila. So to have the nutriment of samadhi and panya, we need to have a good healthy mouth, which is equivalent to sila, as Syara like to stress that we must remember in our mind. Now Syara come to the conclusion of today's preaching by blessing to all that, as you all have understood that through the mouth of sila or morality, we have to fill in with samadhi and panya, that is sweet and nourishing to oneself. So Syara bless to all that may you all be able to observe properly the foundation of sila, so as to nourish yourself with sila and samadhi and panya, wisdom and concentration, to accumulate within oneself in a short time. Sadhu, sadhu.